Hello and welcome. We at KeyToYou are beginning with this series called Smile. The word smile is being used as an acronym here, which means some memories I live every day. Our lives we have started from the day we were born, listening to stories. Stories at the formative years which we may not have understood. However, as we grew up and we heard them again and again, some repeatedly and many new ones, they left an impact. They left us with a message. And that message, which is the lesson, has helped us through many difficult times and situations. Life comes up with the most unprepared situations. Unprepared in the sense we don't know how to deal with them. Yet these stories that have left these small lessons, which are life lessons, which are vital lessons, we realize that they help us through these tough times. Today we bring to you a story of a little girl. What is most important over here is for us to know what the lesson that it leaves us with. The gender is not important because it is a story which may touch anyone. It could be a boy, it could be a girl. From young to old, everyone understands lessons because they are very, very meaningful. It's a story of a little girl. A girl who was one day sitting in a park on a bench, playing with her little doll. She did not have many friends, and she thought she did not even need them, because this doll was her best friend. She would speak to her about everything, all her problems, all her worries, all her tough times, all her situations. She would discuss with her. She would narrate, she would pour her heart out to this little doll. And this girl who we are speaking about is all of 5. One day, as she was sitting and playing with her doll in the park, she heard somebody call out to her, and leaving her doll back on the bench, she ran to hear where the voice or the sound had come from. After that, when she returned to the bench, she realized that her doll was missing. She got very worried. She had lost her only friend. From one end of the park to the other end of the park, she went running, searching, looking everywhere. But to her dismay, she found her doll nowhere. This was something that was being observed by a man who was sitting across on the other side of the park on another bench. And he was looking very intently at how this girl was running from one side to the other, and he was wondering what happened. Because every day he'd been observing this little girl who would be there in the park every day, pretty much the same time. And as he saw her, she sat on the bench and she starts wailing. And she's crying and crying and crying. And he feels very bad, so he gets up from where he was and he approaches her, sits next to her on the bench, and asks her what is it that is bothering her. This little girl, fighting through her tears, managing to speak a little, says, "I was playing with my dolly here. Somebody called me. I went. When I came back, my dolly wasn't there." And the man looked at her and says, "All right. Should we go look for the doll again? Have you done that already?" And she said, "I have seen everywhere. She's not anywhere." And the man says, "Okay, let's do it once more. And let's do it together." Happy as she was, she holds on to the hand of this man who's a stranger. And she goes around the park looking for her doll. They looked behind bushes, behind the trees, in the flower beds, everywhere, but the doll was nowhere. They looked under the benches. They looked every possible place, but the doll was nowhere. This was quite surprising, both for her as well as the gentleman. But then the man looked at her and said, Young lady, it's getting dark now. Let's resume our search for your doll tomorrow again at the same time. I know you come here every day. Let's meet at the time that you every day come here and we'll do our looking for your doll. She was happy. No one, she thought, was as helpful as the stranger. And she'd often been told by her parents, do not talk to strangers. But this stranger was kind and he was not malicious. So she returns the next day, anxiously waiting for the stranger to come. And there she sees him walking towards her. And he's happy and he's smiling, and so is she. As soon as she meets with him and he comes close, he says, you know what happened yesterday? On my way out of the park yesterday, guess who I met? I met your doll. So the girl was very excited. She says, has she come back with you? And the man said, no, she hasn't. But she has given me a letter for you. Would you like to read it? She says, sure. Would you like to read it to me? And the man says, yes, of course. And he sits down on the bench and sat this little girl on his lap. And he begins to read a letter that came from the doll for this girl. And the letter read, I know you're upset. I know you're angry. I know you're sad because I'm going. But please do not be upset. I have grown out to learn the lessons of life. I have gone to seek adventure. I have gone to grow. And I have stepped out into the real big world to know how it is and to seek and learn and explore and expand and experience. And I know that because I will not be there with you, so I make you a promise that I will send you letters frequently to keep you updated about my adventures and about what I am learning in my journey out. This made this little girl very excited and very happy. Thus began the journey of her reading these letters with this gentleman, who was her messenger from her doll. And every 2 days this man would walk in with a new letter from her doll, and they would sit together and read this letter out aloud. And every day there was a new learning for this young girl. She was very excited, so looking forward to meeting the stranger, because so looking forward to hearing from her friend, her doll. Over a period of time, their closeness and their bond became stronger and stronger. And one day, this man walks into the park with a bag in his hand and a letter in the other. And as he was about to hand over the letter to this young girl, he says, I have something for you in this bag. How about you look at what it is before we read the letter? And as she searches in the bag, looks for something, and she finds that there is another doll, and she takes it out and she says, wow, she is beautiful. And as she holds this doll on her lap, and together the two little friends are sitting on the lap of the stranger begins to read out the letter aloud. This time it says, hi, it's me. And this little girl looks at the man and then looks at the doll, and she says, this is not her. My dolly was, this is not my dolly. My dolly was very different. And the man goes on to read on to what was written on the letter, in the letter. And it read, I know I look different. I know I look very, very new to you. And you may even think that I'm not the same. But life's lessons and my journeying and my adventure have taught me a lot. It has changed me. It has made me into a different person. A person who is very, very more evolved and grown from the one who was with you. And I know you see that difference even in my physical appearance. Yet, I am the same me. So just accept me, because the changes that will come in life will be as they are evident with the way I look. To which the girl looks at the doll, looks at that man, and she gives her doll a big hug, happy to have her back. And along with this message that was in the letter, the man tells this little girl that his time in this city or this town is over, that he's moving out for another assignment, and therefore he needs to move on, that she will not be seeing him again. She was upset, she was disappointed, yet she realized that it was a very strong bond that she'd created and she'd managed with a person who was a stranger to her. And as they bid farewell and goodbyes to each other, this little girl now walks back to her home with her new friend, with her doll. Fast forward many years later, the girl is now grown up enough and ready to move out and go to her college. And as she's packing up her bags to move out from her parents' home and leaving her college, she remembers to pick up a doll. And as she's looking at the doll very carefully and very lovingly, she remembers all the times that she would be reading these letters with this man. And just then she notices that from inside the doll's body there was a small paper which was protruding. And she very, very carefully pulls out that paper. And that paper had a message for her, which said, "Dear friend, our life is full of surprises. We have a lot of people who we love, and there will be junctures in life where we will lose our loved ones to whatever. It could be moving away, it could be relocation, it could be leaving, or it could be losing them on account of either of our final journey having arrived. So remember, my friend, that love does not seek to exist. It will always be there. It will always come in newer forms. And all you need to do is be more embracing, as love will come to you from many different places. Just open up yourself and allow for love to flow in. Allow for things to go, because that is the process of life. To let go, yet keep your doors open, because there is a newness or a new beginning which is walking into your life all over again. Be open to receiving and just let love flow in. And that was a message that this little girl, who now is an adult, realizes how important it is, and how important it is for her at this new juncture of her life, which she gladly accepts. And with a smile on her face and a teary-eyed look, she closes her letter and puts it in a bag and takes it with her.